Hey everyone, Christina here. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about another method that you guys can apply to your brand to attract your ideal client even if they are oversaturated. Let's go. So in my previous video, I shared a bit about, your values and your beliefs. And I'll link that up in the playlist that you can go back to and rewatch. The values and beliefs, they play a big part of your brand. It is the core of your brand. So what you need to do now is focus on creating that culture, because your values and beliefs come from a culture, right? Whether you grew up in a family, that valued transparency, or grew up in a family that really admired the idea of always keeping the best image of yourself. Again, everybody has different views, so nothing's set in stone here, but these are just examples. But your brand itself has values to bring to the table, and do set some kind of foundation of a culture you want to build. So now we're going to move on to this method, creating that culture, creating that environment. So either online or offline, you're still creating an environment that these people are going to be engaged with and entering, right? So we want to really focus on building that type of environment. And this is why we go into the foundation of your brand right at the beginning, so that when we go to design it, we know exactly what you want to do when creating this visual presence. So, for example, when I take you through the attributes touch upon the type of culture you want to create. And we use that one word attribute that we finalize to take that keyword and apply it to visuals that match that. So that's why I really enforce that you need to create an environment for these people that come into your brand and they interact with you. And when you do that, when you really communicate the type of environment or the type of world you want to create for your people to immerse in, you are filtering out people that don't really admire that. And that might help you out. That might help you with, not getting annoyed of the people that you're attracting and they're not the right people, right? As I am a quite organized individual, I do value organization. I value, having a environment that it's not minimalist too much, but enough that, my headspace is clear and that I see all the items that I have and I can access them easy. So I'm looking at, quick organizational methods to keep my space clean and making the space itself look organized and put together. And that's just how I present myself to the world. But you don't have to do that. You might have a different method where maybe yours is messy because you guys are art therapists, or maybe you're more of a talk therapist where you're just creating a space that's cozy, right? So it really depends on, the type of person you are and the type of person you're trying to speak to. Normally, it's somebody that's similar to you. So this is why I really enforce that you create an environment, whether it's online or offline. You have to keep that in mind. That, the platforms that you use too for online purposes. So say if you're building a community online, would you prefer using Discord over Circle? Because these two platforms are fairly different, though they have similar features. So Discord is a bit more casual and, it's not as professional, whereas Circle It's very professional and it's very clean. And maybe that's where you're going for this, because I find that a lot of mental health professionals like to keep that professional mindset and appearance. But I did meet some other therapists that do want to be more down to earth and casual. So maybe Discord is the way to go. And this is where you have to make that conscious decision as a brand. You have to look at your brand as a whole. You know, does so and so go well with Discord or with circles? Because the platforms that you choose really play a part in the type of brand that you are. So you have to keep that in mind too. So even if you're just an online business, your platforms play a part of what the brand, you know, connects with in terms of Discord and the brand. So, you know, Discord could say a lot about you as a brand. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So maybe, again, this is coming down to you. How do you want to run your business and brand? You know, do you want to build an online community, or are you more so want to build a community offline where you're in an actual environment outside, or maybe in another environment indoors, but in a different facility? So you have to really admire the space, because the space says a lot about who you are as a brand and person. And, you know, a person, just a prospect, can walk in and just kind of look around and see, you know, does this resonate with me? And if it doesn't, they'll walk out right away, because environment is everything. It's the user experience. So you have to really look at every little detail within the environment that you're trying to build. So look at the chairs that you're going to bring in, or look at the light fixtures that you're going to add in here. Look at maybe some of the artwork that you display on the walls. Those all matter. Even if you bring in a big mural, is a mural going to help with creating a safe space for people? Or, I don't know, maybe books that you're going to lay out on the tables or something for them to read, you know, while they're waiting for, you know, the next session, or however you want to set things up. But this all matters. So every single detail matters when it comes to setting up your space, whether it's online, offline. You can also brainstorm ideas via Pinterest. I always look to Pinterest for anything in regards to furniture, interior design, because that matters to humans that, you know, interact with the space. And then anything online, you would need to explore the platforms. Do a lot of research on each of the platforms. Maybe immerse yourself into the actual platform yourself before you establish your own community. And then just keep asking yourself, is this, you know, a platform that's good for me to build something on in my terms, right? Is this something that my people will like? And that will apply, you know, later on in the future, because eventually as you grow, you probably are going to have people that really want to keep returning to you. And this is where I keep saying, build that community so that, you know, it's an easy contact and easy access to information. The individual can contact you back and forth, or you can do quick video chats or quick events. So that's the really great advantage about online communities. But again, it's up to you how you want to run it, because there's so many different online platforms out there for group building. You got Discord, you got Circle, you got Facebook groups, you got just a simple newsletter. However you want to run your brand and what you're comfortable with and what your people prefer as well, because your people do matter in this decision. You guys agree to something together. A little bit about style. So if you're an individual that's actually going to have in-person visits, you definitely want to get clear on the type of style that you want to bring to your space. And again, this is where we go back to brand attributes and characteristics that define your brand. So just tying it back to in-person space design. So if you're going to have an in-person setting, you want to establish a style. So a style can be anything from boho style to antique style, vintage style, Victorian style, however style you want to go, or just simply modern or minimalistic style. So this comes down to, you have to define your characteristics of the brand in order to even get to this stage. So you have to ensure that anything that you're putting into your space really ties back into, you know, what you are as a brand and what kind of mission and purpose you are carrying, because every piece in your environment really has to speak to the brand. You can't have, I don't know, random things in the environment that don't resonate with the people that are coming in. So you have to get to know your people as well when designing your space. Keep checking in with them too, you know, on some of the ideas that you have, because before you even design a space, you go to making a blueprint of some sort. So you make some kind of a plan for the room. You know, gather some images that maybe resonate with you in terms of a certain look and feel that you want for the space. So I keep saying to build a mood board of some sort when you're building something that's a bit bigger than anticipated and a bit more expensive, because you don't want to put money into something that maybe might not work out in the end. So really take the time to plan. Ask your people every time you're adding to this mood board, hey guys, does this resonate with you? Do you think that this space will make you feel comfortable? So those are things that you have to keep asking yourself, because remember, the space is not really for you, it's for the people that come in. So you have to make sure that it's attractive to them, they feel comfortable in the space, and that they feel that they can, you know, release emotion and open up in this environment. Because any type of environment, whether it's online or offline, it really changes their mood and behavior. So you have to ensure that whatever you're doing in this space, really keep questioning yourself as you're building it. You know, does this feel good, or will this make them feel comfortable? And remember, checking in with your people too as you're building it. In terms of culture, so that was culture in terms of, you know, look, feel, the things that would be in the space, your interests of some sort, of items and whatnot. But we haven't really talked about the type of culture in terms of, you know, behavior, topics, interests, and personality, because that does establish a culture as well. So if you're, again, like I said, a therapist that's very messy and chaotic and enthusiastic, you are your own type of culture. There's people that are around, you know, in the world just like you. So you have to make sure you market about that, you know, market about the personality and the energy that you bring and what kind of space that you're trying to create. Because people gravitate to other people via interest, via topics that they talk about, maybe some of the things that, you know, they believe in. Those all matter, because culture is part of the environment, but it's also part of behavior and the type of conversations that you guys have. So this is going to take some getting used to as well, because sure, you're going to be engaging with people online, so they might not know you that well. And this is where you have to market yourself fairly well to communicate, you know, the type of person you are, the type of personality that you carry, and the type of topics that you always like to talk about. because we have to get to know you, right, in order to kind of get an understanding of your culture, right? So this is where you have to get to know the person, because everybody has, their own little niched interest. So this is why, you have to take the time to get to know people before you say yes to something. So that's why maybe your, clients maybe don't stay with you that long, because maybe that the bond isn't there, right? Because maybe that person doesn't have the same interests as you. Maybe they don't like art, so maybe they're looking for a different type of therapy. Maybe they're looking for music therapy, because that's helpful. So this is why you have to kind of dig deep into yourself, know what your interests are, really embrace those interests, because that's going to help you too to create that culture that you want to have with another person. Getting to know you and really get to know that person that you want to talk to, that's going to give you the higher advantage of, getting people into your culture, into your brand. When you are creating your brand, you really want to focus on creating that culture. And I know some people, they just kind of whip together a logo and a tagline, and then, pretty colors and a font, and then they're done. No, because there's so much more to branding that you need to take into account, especially on a visual scale. So what you need to look at now as a whole is, after you've established your blueprint to your brand, you have to go into the visuals now and take what you planned out and apply it to the visuals. But the visuals need to focus on the culture that you're trying to create, because remember, the visuals are basically going to help engage the people in. So the visuals, remember, are surface level. So people will engage with the brand via the visuals. Could be imagery of what you're trying to convey in terms of culture. It could be the type of photography that you're using in the brand itself. The colors that you're picking could also depict that too, and the language that you're using. So the type of messaging that you're trying to send out to these people. So you have to make sure that everything is unison and that you're focusing on culture, because people want to gravitate to a community that they feel comfortable in and engaging with. Because if you just did a logo and some colors and a font, well, that doesn't depict anything, right? It doesn't really communicate the type of values you have, because let's just say you value community, right? You value community as a brand. So what kind of pictures are you going to show in the brand itself? You're going to show a lot of people, coming together, whether they're, hugging, holding hands, or if they're talking amongst each other. You're showcasing community. So you have to have a bit more care for your brand's visual presence and identity. You do that, you're going to be able to attract the like-minded people that you're looking for. And that's probably, the big issue that you're probably facing right now, is that you don't have an established enough visual presence to get people in, because maybe they're confused on what you're offering to them, or maybe they're confused about, what type of brand are you, or, what kind of message are you trying to speak to me about, right? Maybe there's a gap there and they don't quite understand. So you have to get clear on, the messaging that you have, the type of culture you're trying to bring, and what kind of world are you trying to build. Today, guys, I just wanted to kind of recap what we talked about. So basically, we're taking the values and beliefs that we built for ourselves, and now we're taking that and putting it into visuals, so that the visuals speak to the values that we share, and that would help to get people in to our brand and dig deeper to get to know us more, right? So that's part of the summary. So think about how you want your space to look like, whether it's in person, and if it's online only, think about the types of platforms you want to use and if they resonate with your brand and your values and the people that you want to attract, if they like those platforms as well, because it can't be one-sided. So that's one thing there. Then I also mentioned about culture not just being the environment, but you as a person, the type of things you talk about, the type of clothes you wear, the type of language you talk, the type of songs you listen to, and the interests that you have, and topics. All those things, they're all part of culture. So you have to take that into account on both sides. So you now have to take that and really enforce it into the visuals. And that's pretty much a method that I've learned to use to attract like-minded people that are your target audience. Because when you do that, you'll see a big change in the type of people that come to see you. You'll be more happy that these are the type of people that you are looking for. So visual communication is super important. Do not bypass it. I know people like to rush into it and get started on it because there's some people that don't care about the visuals, and then there's people that care more about the visuals than the actual plan itself. So for people that don't really care about their visuals, really take more time in that area to nourish and the brand by building stronger visuals and building a stronger system via visuals. And then for those of you who love just jumping right into the visuals and getting it done, hold off on the visuals until you build a blueprint for your brand. When you do that, the visuals will look much better after. So that's all, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. All right, guys, have a good one. Keep smiling. Bye.